Wisconsin, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit carsplusguam.com for details. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Starting now on Primetime, the governor held a press conference this afternoon regarding cases of the California coronavirus variant found on Guam. Plus, the family of the man shot and killed in the officer-involved shooting last year speaks out after no true bill was returned in the case. And a bill is introduced, further addressing the more than $28 million in emergency and sole source procurement last year.
Hafid, good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. Public Health has confirmed the first cases on Guam of a new, more contagious COVID variant have been around for at least the last 3 months. In a news conference today, Governor Nicole Guerrero said the strain came from California and was found in samples sent to the CDC in January.
We received the results from 26 of the 49 samples. And here's what we know. 7 of these samples had the California variant, a variant that is known to be 20% more transmissible. Of these 7, 4 came from samples within the community. These 4 individuals had no known travel history. The remaining 3 samples came from persons who tested at our quarantine facility. Even with the California variant in our community, our COVID-19 response has remained robust.
And with the numbers under control, the administration is pressing forward with plans to further open the economy, including tourism, and lifting the mandatory quarantine for arriving passengers with negative COVID tests.
We are going to stay the course, and we are going to continue with our direction of May 1st to have 50% of our people vaccinated, and then hopefully by July 21st to have 80%. So we are going to remain the course, and once we start seeing more vaccinations, we are still going to continue with the plan on our quarantine protocols.
To speed up the vaccinations, the governor has asked government agency heads to allow time off, administrative leave for employees to get vaccinated, and she's encouraging the business community to do the same.
I am also asking the private sector to allow their employees that opportunity to leave their work to be vaccinated.
All right, and is there any way to incentivize private sector to do that?
Sure. Keep our people safe and protect yourself. I think that's a great incentive.
Public Health says the next phase of vaccinations will be for those 16 and older, basically the entire adult population. The start date will be announced, and the governor says there will be an ample vaccine supply to cover it. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
As more contagious COVID-19 variants spread throughout the U.S., Dr. Anthony Fauci says there are 3 key ways to keep new infections from surging once again. But as CBS News correspondent Michael George reports from New York, there are pockets of resistance across the nation.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says more contagious COVID variants spreading around the U.S. can be fought with vaccines, social distancing, and masks.
If we don't do those things, there is a threat that we will see a surge coming up.
You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
Masks are not theater. Masks are protective.
Fauci addressed his exchange on Capitol Hill this week with Republican Senator Rand Paul.
His point was if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't be wearing a mask. In fact, the more people get vaccinated, just put masks away. It's theater. That's ridiculous.
Dr. Fauci cited a new study that finds people aged 65 and older are more prone to being reinfected by the coronavirus. On Saturday, larger than expected spring break crowds prompted officials to impose an 8 p.m. curfew for part of Miami Beach.
Join us in the fight to regain our constitutional freedoms.
In Phoenix, a group burned masks and held up signs against vaccines. In Texas City, Texas,
I'm trying to school you people, am I right?
This woman was arrested for a second time after refusing to wear a mask in a store. But amid the strife, signs of life the way Americans knew it. In Oakland, California, kids relished the reopening of an amusement park, while kids of all ages celebrated as the curtain rose at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles for the first time in more than a year. Michael George, CBS News.
The family of deceased Xavier Tetautau speaks out and says the Guam Police Department's findings are untrue and it was a sloppy investigation. As reported over the weekend, the case has been closed, finding the officers' actions were justified.
They shot to kill. They killed my brother.
Geraldine Tetautau is the sister of 42-year-old Xavier Tetautau. She and her family remain in distraught since the evening of November 3rd, 2020. The night officers shot off 45 bullets at Xavier and his now deceased wife, Vicki Ann Regis. Over the weekend, the AG's office and the GPD announced that their investigations have concluded, with the grand jury returning a no true bill and the 4 officers involved cleared from any criminal charges.
We're still very hurt. And that news came and hit hard, just as it hit hard when we found out that my brother was shot and killed by police officers the night that it happened.
GPD Chief Stephen Ignacio went through a sequence of events that occurred the evening of Tetautau's death. Officers responded to a theft of a cell phone complaint at an apartment complex in Tamuning, in which Tetautau and Regis were seen allegedly in a stolen vehicle.
This time, 3 of the 4 police officers discharged their firearms at the suspect. Despite discharging their firearms, he continued to refuse to stop the car or surrender. He tried to reverse the Lancer, but the Lancer was stuck to the patrol car. The suspect then accelerated forward, and another officer discharged his firearm at the suspect. Finally, after the suspect stopped revving the Lancer and it stopped, the 4 police officers moved in and found that the suspect and the female in the car sustained injuries. They immediately called for medical help, which arrived on scene and transported both.
According to Xavier's mother, Carol Tetautau, this information is incorrect.
How can that be justified? The chief's statements, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who did their investigation, how they did their investigation. Sloppy and not right.
Carol shares that Vicki Ann Regis suffered from about 10 gunshot wounds, and she was hospitalized for months after the incident. It was learned that Regis passed away over the course of this investigation, and which the family believes was related to the shooting.
She never stopped bleeding out. She did share with me that she had begged them to stop shooting. She put the car in park and shut it off. The way they reported it, the car going back and forth, my son going back and forth, that was not true. I don't know where they got their information from. That's not true. She watched my son die right in front of her.
And this isn't the only thing she says GPD was not truthful about.
We weren't contacted by authorities the night my brother was killed. I was on the phone making calls to GPD to try and find out where my brother was. He wasn't transported to GMH right away. He was kept there at the scene until wee hours in the morning the next day.
The OAG characterized the disarming as an excessive amount of shots fired, as one of the officers shot 31 out of the 45 bullets.
It's wrong. That amount of force of fire, I truly believe, was unnecessary. My brother was unarmed. His wife was unarmed. If they're going to use the car as a weapon, did they give my brother a chance to step out of the vehicle? There's other ways that they could have disarmed that vehicle. If they say that my brother was continuously reversing and going forward, there's other ways they could have disarmed that vehicle. They could have shot at the tires. And that is one training I know that officers are trained to do. She put it in park and she turned off the car and had her hands up in the air while she was in the car screaming, "Stop shooting, stop shooting." They weren't armed.
Tetautau's family says they reached out several times to GPD and were completely left in the dark. To this day, their questions remain unanswered.
They couldn't answer any of our questions because of the investigation. We were denied. My mom was denied to identify my brother's body. We want to know who identified his body when this happened.
Xavier and Vicki Ann share a son together and are parents to more children of their own who will now have to grow up without a mother and father.
There will be justice. It may be the end for them, but this is just the beginning for us, for justice for both of them.
The Guam Police Department maintains that the administrative investigation was conducted with the Guam Customs and Quarantine Chief Ignacio said the findings of the joint investigation involved the collection, review, and analysis of all available evidence, which included police reports, forensic reports, witness interviews of people at the scene and the surrounding neighborhood, as well as interviews with the 4 officers involved. He added the police officers were faced with a suspect with a 3,000-plus weapon, which was the vehicle. Quote, they discharged deadly force in response to the deadly force used against them and seized the deadly force when the threat against them had stopped, unquote. All 4 officers are back on the job. More transparency, the intent of a bill introduced by Senator James Moylan in response to 27 pages worth of emergency and sole source procurement in 2020. Here's more.
Senator James Moylan is the latest lawmaker to come forward with concerns about more than $28 million in emergency and sole source procurement last year.
We're talking about an annual report that's for sole source procurement and emergency procurement process that we saw questionable.
Questionable purchases such as a $9,000 boat-shaped conference table, which GSA Chief Procurement Officer Claudia Ekfaji now says that purchase order was terminated, and instead the money was used by the Department of Labor to procure tables to stand up the PUA program.
The PUA had to start from ground zero. So we ordered like 34 desks and, to facilitate this PUA program. So it wasn't like $35,000 for one boat-shaped desk. It was a consolidation of other furnitures and not just one.
It's this lack of specifics that Senator Moylan's Bill 90 calls for.
When that report was submitted, the description line gets cut off. It's not the entire report.
According to Bill 90, the report shall contain each contractor's name, the amount and type of each contract, the listing of supplies, services, or construction procured under each contract, and a summary justifying how the procurement transaction was determined to be a sole source procurement and or emergency procurement. The bill would also mandate that instead of GSA submitting an annual report, it should be turned in every month.
It's not a problem. We can print out those reports and get it even if they want it weekly. We're ready.
According to Senator Moylan's bill, with more than $660 million in federal money heading to Guam, the monthly reports would be a more efficient way of tracking sole source and emergency procurement expenditures, and also promotes a greater level of transparency in requiring justification summaries so the public knows how these monies are being spent.
Because they all want to know what the heck's going on with all this money. And that's what we'll be focused on.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas, Matinoni.
Another break for the hard-hit unemployed. The newly signed Biden recovery plan waives income tax on up to $10,200 in pandemic unemployment assistance. Revenue Tax Director Daphne Shimizu says they're still sorting out the options for affected taxpayers who've already filed their returns.
There is nothing that prevents people from filing an amended return if that is what they wish to do. We do not dictate that. However, we will be working to provide some level of guidance as soon as we're able to. Again, we're still in discussions with the IRS about that. And that's one thing that happened in this last week, or that came out of the American Rescue Plan, is this $10,200 in now non-taxable unemployment compensation.
Also, Shimizu wants to make clear that while the income tax deadline has been extended to May 17th, this only applies to individual filers and not for businesses. They still have to file by April 15th. It appears the legislature may be joining a case before the Supreme Court involving the governor and public health's powers to quarantine individuals entering Guam. It was in December the governor petitioned the Supreme Court to issue a declaratory judgment based on the provisions in the Emergency Powers Health Powers Act, as it relates to the ability for the public health and the public health authority, in this case the governor, to quarantine individuals. A hearing before the Supreme Court was supposed to be heard a week and a half ago, but it was rescheduled. Minority Leader Senator Chris Duenas confirms the Republican caucus was being held today to discuss the case.
What the governor is trying to do is basically say that the quarantine and those issues associated with the quarantine are inorganic, the way that they're operating it. She has had a number of defeats in the court on her quarantine powers, and many people have been released after having taken the administration and public health to court. And now it looks as though the filing from the administration is that, we were using we were using the Guam law power to counter what these basically the plaintiffs have been going to the court and the court's been ruling in favor of those to get out of quarantine. But now they just say, okay, forget it. We don't have to follow that rule because that law that was passed in the legislature, it's inorganic. This has implications for Bill 11. This has implications for the entire Chapter 19 on emergency powers.
A status hearing before the Supreme Court on the governor's request for declaratory judgment is now scheduled for April 23rd. Stick around for more news here on Prime Time. You're watching KUAM.
While we've all been through a lot over the years, typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19,
we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years.
Travelers Insurance has been protecting your homes, your businesses,
and the health of your family.
We are here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
There are better days ahead. Tomorrow's a new day filled with hope and choices.
The possibilities of what we can achieve together are limitless.
Let's continue to work together to ensure a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
The Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce presents Fanatsu Famalawan, Women Rising, on Thursday, April 8th. This virtual conference will reach you wherever you are, featuring international experts and thought leaders sharing their stories. Experience on-demand sessions, masterclasses, and conversations to inspire and empower. Register today. Fanatsu Famalawan, Inspiring Innovation, April 8th at GuamWomen'sChamber.com. Special thanks to our change agents and our other community partners.
Try double filet sandwich for double the flavor. Just in time for Lent for a limited time. Served all day.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Police are seeking to hang on to about $300,000 from lapsed funds to pour back into a Safe Schools initiative. The bill by Senator Jose Pito Chirlahi would authorize GPD to use prior year appropriations from the Police Patrol Vehicle Fund and Safe Schools initiative for use in the current fiscal year. Chief Stephen Ignacio says they plan to buy new cars.
I mean, our outreach under Project U, we bring the cars out to the school kids, especially the elementary school kids. I think they really enjoy seeing that patrol car with the lights and the sirens. And unfortunately, because we don't have enough cars, we're not going to pull a patrol car from patrol operations for Project U. So this money will be used strictly to buy cars strictly for the Project U program.
Chief Ignacio says they planned to expend all the money last year but ran into some obstacles because of the COVID pandemic. 29-year-old Kalia Harry Munya was arrested and charged with burglary, attempted third-degree criminal sexual conduct, and fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. According to court documents, the victim reported that at around 4 a.m. on January 21st, she woke to Munya tapping on her feet standing over her. She asked how he got into her home, and Munya allegedly said he climbed through an open window. Then Munya continued to ask the victim to have sex, which she refused. The victim then threatened to call the police, and Munya allegedly got on top of her to try to rape her. The victim screamed, and Munya finally got off of the victim when another person in the home came into the room, forcing him out of the room. 23-year-old Cole James Uggan was arrested and charged with family violence and child abuse, both as misdemeanors. According to court documents, police responded to a disturbance complaint just before 1 a.m. on March 18th. There, a woman reported she was asleep when Uggan woke her and wanted to fight. The woman said Uggan punched her several times, including in the face, and she tried to fight back. But when Uggan tried to kick the woman, he allegedly kicked a 3-year-old child in the chest 3 times. Social workers have been dedicated to improving human well-being and enhancing the basic needs of all people, especially the most vulnerable among us. This morning, a proclamation was signed during a virtual ceremony declaring March as Social Work Month. This year's theme, Maintaining Connections Through Changing Environments. Social workers are essential, embodies the heroic contributions of social work profession to our island and our nation, including their work to heal our island and our nation during times of pandemic, racial unrest, economic uncertainty, and political divisivism. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero.
Community cope with that.
Can reflect back when I was a nurse that one of the most important person in the healthcare team of the comprehensive care for patients is the social worker. You can be there as a nurse to meet the acute needs of the patient, but the social workers are the lifeline.
Should I just say thank you?
Social workers play a crucial role in our island's healthcare system and have played a key role in the island's response to COVID-19 and helping individuals, families, and communities cope with the epidemic. And this week, many of the island's social workers will be attending the annual National Association of Social Workers two-day conference, which will be taking place this week on March 25th and 26th. 3 extensions later, and Guam's registered fishermen are finally getting the first round of federal aid. Last year, the Department of Agriculture received $1 million to provide federal aid to local fishermen through the CARES Act Fisheries Relief Fund. The major issue was getting the registered fishermen to turn in their packets. Finally, checks for the first batch have been paid out for those that turned in their applications before the November 30th deadline. About 150 applications are still under review. Registered fishermen who have yet to turn in their applications are urged to do so before the March 31st deadline. For more information, you can call 735-0294. You can also email fisheries@doag.guam.gov to request an application packet. Coming up, our Dave Delgado has a rundown of local sports from softball, beach volleyball, and still to come, this week's woman-driven segment. You're watching KUAM.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Swim on in for Ruby Tuesday Seafood Sensations and enjoy your favorites from the sea in perfect time for Lent. Get hooked on lobster mac and cheese, the salmon loco moco, or the deep sea pasta. There's a bounty waiting for you on the RT Seafood Sensations menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
We get it. Living to the fullest is tough during COVID-19. You don't need to do it alone, and everyone needs a hand right now. We are here. Feeling overwhelmed? Call 647-8833 and let's talk. Mangagihem is a project of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center.
Whether you use your truck for work or play, you can count on Ram Trucks. Built to deliver today and built to deliver for many years to come. Here at Cars Plus, it is Ram Truck Month, where you can get the best deal on a new Ram 1500 starting at a new low price of $31,995. You can call us at 477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to schedule your test drive today.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. On the way, IIAG girls beach volleyball between the Knights and Panthers. But first off, Issa Girls Softball League highlights between the Teason High Titans and Academy Cougars. Check it out. Teason High faced Academy in their last regular season game of the year at the Teason Field. After leaving a runner on, the Cougars took to the field for defense in the bottom of the first inning. Janae Terrier scored the first run of the ball game for the Titans after getting on base with a single. Rachel Santamaria ripped a 2-run double to give Teason the 3-0 lead. Pitcher Janae Harris brought home another run off an RBI single. Titans went up 4-0 heading into the top of the second. Cougars' Cadence Chaco got on base with a double, advancing the leadoff hitter to third. Academy's pitcher Isabella Dangan brought home both runners to cut the lead in half, trailing 4-2. In the bottom of the inning, Janae Terrier singles and steals second a few pitches later. Zaria Indalecio walked. Kayla Farron was hit by a pitch to load the bases for Rachel Santamaria. Santamaria hit a double to score another run. Teason ended the inning scoring 4 runs to lead 8-4. Academy loaded the bases in the third inning for Amaya Cruz. Sack Fly scored a run with 2 outs. Branwen Seville ripped a double to make it 8-7. Academy still trailing. The Cougars regained the lead 12-8 behind a homer by Olivia Salas and some bad throws defensively from Teason. The lead went back and forth late in the game. Teason went back up 16-15. The Titans led 20-16 in the top of the 7th. Academy scored 3 runs in their last trip to the plate, but fell short, losing 20-19. In IIAG beach volleyball, the girls are heading into playoff mode this week, while the boys are playing their last games of the regular season. The season has been running smooth. Games have been competitive and well worth the wait.
It's been a great season so far. Of course, we've been waiting so long to do sports, so it's great to see the kids out here playing. Like you said, it's been really smooth. Everything's been running on time. The kids, the coaches, and now that we are allowed to have some spectators have been really great about following the protocol and checking in and keeping their distance and all that stuff. So it's been great, and the competition has been really good this year. We can see a lot of improvement amongst all the schools, and we have Guam High entering this year, which is great, so we added another school to play.
Shepard says beach volleyball is a fast-growing sport that can open up opportunities for our high school athletes. Props to the IIAG for supporting the program.
We got a lot of talented kids out here playing volleyball in general, both indoor and beach, and it's just another avenue for the kids, especially the girls, because beach volleyball is one of the fastest growing sports at the collegiate level. So yeah, hats off to IIG for recognizing it. And some years we have the public schools playing, and hopefully we'll get them back when things are hopefully back to normal in the future. So hopefully it can keep growing.
Big shout out also going out to the GFA for allowing the beach volleyball players to utilize their facility for this year's season.
GFA has been great and very supportive of the IIAG using this venue for beach volleyball for, I think, 3 years now. So a big thank you to GFA. They're just so supportive with everything in terms of allowing us to use this for practice and games, making sure the gates are always open. So yeah, we couldn't do it without them. We're really thankful for their help.
Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Oh, man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
With March being Women's Month, we continue our woman-driven segment. We feature another amazing woman entrepreneur making her mark.
Sarah Boucher is the owner and creative mind behind Studio 13 North, a small business that specializes in local sea glass jewelry and handmade local wood jewelry and home decor. She explains what inspired her.
Well, walking on the beach too much, I guess. So I would do morning strolls on the beach and just pick up pretty things, shells, sea glass. And I've had just buckets piled on buckets, and I needed to do something with it, and that's where it first started. I just started making sea glass necklaces.
Her business, which has been around for 5 years, carries the GUAM product seal, has expanded beyond jewelry with beautiful handmade e-fit pieces such as charcuterie boards, tables, and decor.
The first time I opened a shop was March of 2017. Unfortunately, we did have to close shortly after that for a year because we moved off island for 10 months. And then we came back and we reopened October 2018.
She's grateful for the support of the community that allows her business to thrive.
They really, I think, admire what I do. We're taking sea glass trash pretty much off the beach and making it into something beautiful. We're taking trees that are just cut down or you know, somebody wants some trees cut down on their property because it's in the way of something, and we're making something out of it. We're taking something from the island and making it into products that they can have in their homes, give as gifts, take with them anywhere they want.
As for what it means to be a businesswoman,
having my own store and being able to show my kids, especially my daughter, that you can do anything if you really put your mind to it and you have dreams and aspirations, and just fulfilling what you want and seeing something and getting a hold of it and just going after it.
You can find Studio 13 North on Facebook and Instagram, or you can stop by the shop located in the Chamorro Village.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the COLDSTONE Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy birthday on this March 22nd to Nicole Guerrero. We love you. Say Mom, Dad, Natasha, Nana, and the family. And a belated birthday wish going out tonight to Jennifer Marie, who was born on March 19th. Happy birthday from Bray Bay, Jarian, and Liam, and the Camacho Sablan fan band. We hope Nicole and Jennifer Marie had fantastic birthdays. Be safe and have a great day.
Remember, you can be part of the COLDSTONE Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. That's all the time we have for us here on Primetime. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and be safe.